Maybe you're in a scene in your life right now that things aren't going well, and you recognize that you've been disengaged. You haven't gotten out of bed. You haven't been eating. You've really been struggling. Maybe you didn't take action. Okay. So as a director, I'm going to call it scene. Now, what do I want for this character next? What would the ideal me do? If the best of me was showing up in this chapter, what would they do? What are the actual actions that you need to change your story? I bet there are times in your life where even though you knew you had all the reasons in the world to be proud of yourself, that you had a sense of belief, you just didn't feel worthy. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how many self-help books you've read, how many spirituality books, how many personal development books that you have read. But isn't it true that you can do all that work and still not feel worthy? You know, I was a kid who at one time in my life contemplated taking my life. I had become suicidal after a breakup of the first girl I ever loved. And so I know what it feels like to have no sense of worth. It's like zero, in fact, less than zero. And if you've ever been there, you're just like, when that sense of I don't have any worth is matched with nothing matters, those are the darkest places we go. And I know many of you, like me, our mindset has been stationed there at certain times of our life because our attention was given to the circumstance, not to the character development, not to ownership. See, it's in those times that we end up doing is kind of releasing those two things, don't we? In our misery, in our self-pity, we release the reality that we are in charge of the story, that we are in charge of the character development. This is called being not only the observer of life, but the director, asking, what would this ideal me do? Or the story arc that I want for this character, what would he do? We're supposed to say, okay, kid, you got your heart broke. You're lying in filth in your bed. You haven't gotten out of bed in several weeks. You haven't been eating. You're really struggling. Okay. So as a director, I'm going to call it scene. All right. Now I've got to say, what do I want for this character next? Do I want this kid to get out of bed? Yes or no? Well, of course I do. I want this kid to get out of bed. What else do I want for him? You know, I want this kid to start going back to class, start talking to his friends. Okay. What else do I want for this kid? The next scene, right when he wakes up tomorrow morning, what should he do? You know what? He should probably immediately write a little note of forgiveness to himself and to this person. Do that tomorrow morning. Okay, what else should that kid do? If that kid was going to be the best character, who becomes a hero in the story, becomes happier in long term, finds love again, what should he do? Is he going to lay there another week? Is that what he should do? See, we have to externalize sometimes and take command of ourselves. And if we've done that before, it's called ownership. That's called responsibility. That's called conscientious direction of our life. If we don't, then what happens? We're just the kid feeling yucky in bed, feeling miserable in bed. Sometimes we have to do what? We have to break out of our circumstances, out of the circumstances and into the character development mode again. And the more that we do this, the more strength that comes into you. You're like, whoa, I can actually determine the next cause and consequence in this person's life, my life. I have the authorship or the direction in my life. I'm calling it ownership. Over a period of time, everything starts to shift. And if we're trying to shift your mindset here into something that is healthier, something that's more powerful for you, I probably can't fix your worth from years back, but maybe we can start adjusting. If I can teach you, hey, your attention, if it's given to the circumstances or the feelings or the senses in the moment, if we could actually shift it now from that focus on the past into your current reality today, can we shift your attention now to today? Because maybe you don't do those things. Maybe you have never done those things. Maybe you let that kid lay there too long. Maybe you let yourself feel bad for too long. Maybe you didn't take action. Maybe you're in a scene in your life right now that things aren't going well, and you recognize that you've been disengaged because you've been discouraged. You've been discouraged. You've been in discouragement mode. You've been feeling like you don't have the courage to apply yourself. That's normal. It happens to everybody. Everybody, right? I'm here to tell you the answer is to get back into a conscious life. The answer is to turn your mindset now from past scenes or the past upsets or the past discouragements and turn your mindset back into a time zone that works, the time zone of now, back into the moment, back into the presence. And I'm asking now, what's the next right action of integrity? Asking now, how should I direct myself? Asking now, how do I want this chapter of my life to end? How do I want the next chapter of my life to begin? If the best version of me was showing up in this chapter, what would he do? What would she do? What would they do? You would make the decision each day. Okay, I'm not just going to fly by the seat of my pants, all right? I'm going to do something. I'm not going to be discouraged. I'm not just going to react. Instead, what is this character of who I am going to do right here? It's called character development. Please recognize, I know this sounds basic for some of you and probably offensive to others, because others who walked into this conversation thinking everybody just deserves to feel happy. I'm like, well, happiness feels different for everybody. Worthiness feels different for different people, right? Confidence feels different for different people. Everybody has their own worth. And I can't increase your sense of that until we increase your sense of ownership. So that comes back to character development. And I know we don't talk about that much. Remember, that used to be a conversation in our education system, character development. And we've lost a lot of that outside of our great teachers, our great education systems. There's still some of them around. So if you're a great teacher or in one of those systems, thank you. And if you're a great parent out there that still talks about character development with your kids, that's awesome. But we have lost a lot of that conversation. We've entered a conversation in most society about victimhood, about why everybody deserves to feel so unfair about society, so unfair about the government. And I'm not here to say that there's no injustice or no unfairness, because there certainly is. But even in those scenes and in that particular scene of truth, there you are. What are you going to do? If you can be conscientious about your next right action of integrity in the next couple scenes, in the next couple weeks of your life, you know what you will sense? I mean, if we could get just 4 weeks out of you, 4 weeks where you wake up and you go, okay, Lord, what is my intention for today? If I was operating from the best character of who I was, how would I behave today? How would I react to this conflict? How would I react to what they're saying? How would I respond if I was in the best place of the best of who I could possibly be? How would that character respond? How would they do it? What would they build? What would they build into the day? Or would they run from the day? Would they engage in the scene, or would they be one of the non-characters in the background? Would you be out in front? Would you be in the conversation? Would you help engage the scene? And I'm here to say, of course you would. You have got to engage life again. This is really important. Avoidance is not going to ever lead to a sense of greater worth. It's about engaging. It's about active agency, optimism, engagement in life, and saying, okay, I can do something here. The situation and circumstance and the scene of life are actually quite malleable based on what I do over a period of time. Maybe not in that one scene can I win, but over a period of time, it's actually quite malleable. It's actually quite possible that I can change the narrative of the story over and over and over if I want to, based on my actual actions. What are the actual actions that you need to change your story? What do you want? What are the next right actions of integrity for you to take in order to develop yourself in the way you want, in order to assert yourself in the way you want, in order to improve your life in the way you want? Right? In order to build your future home of self, your future home of self, what would I be doing right now? Because see, funny enough, our time zones of life really matter. I talked about the past and how we can see the scenes and circumstances of our life and how we gauge our worth today based on off of those. We shouldn't do that though. Instead, we should ask that character, did that character develop itself? Did that character assert itself? Did I do that over a period of time? And if I didn't, that's still okay, but at least I know now why I feel the way I do, because I did not engage in the past. I didn't have agency. I didn't have authority, autonomy. I didn't assess myself, assert myself. I did not develop anything. The situation drove me. Now, at least you know that's why. But it also gives you a roadmap for the future, right? Okay, I'm in situations now. I'm not going to gauge my life based off of my circumstances anymore. I need to realize that the other time zones really matter. The future really matters. See, our whole worth is also built upon, am I building the home of future self that I'll be proud of? So am I enticing the next right action of integrity today? Am I building my life today? But specifically, please listen. Am I doing things today that are of integrity, that are directing my character in the correct direction today? Okay, that's the present, but in the future, my brain is also going, hey, am I building myself into the addition that feels vitality? You feel it? There's value there. There's care. There's love. See, I'm somebody, I haven't really had to worry about worth in the last little bit because I just felt it, because I feel like I'm on the right path. right path to my potential. It's not like every day is perfect. Just in general, I feel like I'm on the right path. And today I'm directing myself the best I can. Now, you really need to understand, notice the self-talk, right? The self-talk is, today I am directing myself the best I can. Today I am directing myself the best that I can. I am conscientious about the person showing up. I am taking the next right action of integrity. That is the best I'm doing every single day. It might not always turn out to guide me perfectly. It might not always turn out to be all the rewards and the outcomes I want today. But please listen, the outlook on life today is, you know what? I can move the needle forward. I can change the situations in life. It's malleable. It's changeable. So let me direct myself with the next right action today. I don't know the outcome perfectly at the end of the day or the end of the relationship. I can't. And I know I don't. We are not after certainty in life. When people strive for certainty, they get stuck in perfection. When people strive for certainty, they get stubborn. When people, all they want is certainty, they don't make decisions. You need to make a lot of decisions without certainty. You need to make a lot of decisions without surgery, right? You need to go into a lot of conversations open, not certain that you know everything about the other person or even yourself. You need to be in discovery and direction mode. And the truth is, we can have a sense of confidence, but if we think everything has to be certain, then we won't act. We won't ask questions. As soon as you're certain, you stop learning. So I think it's very important. That's not what you're after. You're not after certainty. You're after a kind of outlook. And that outlook is, you have agency today, right now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.